Hello everyone, welcome to No Holds Barred Pod, whatever time you're listening to it. You will notice that I am flying solo today in this very rarest of pods because unfortunately, due to the incredible heat we've got here at the moment in the UK, Don is currently melted in a house that's melted with all his equipment that's melted, so I'm just visualising him in claymation right now, which is lovely, but the tech won't work. So unfortunately, Don's having an involuntary week off, so you've just got me. Say week. I'm sure we'll be back at it very soon. So we've had a very quiet week because we went to the Rejoin march on Saturday in London, which was fantastic. I got to speak, so very grateful for that. Thank you, Peter Core, for giving me the opportunity. I think it was fairly well received. I essentially talked about how leaving the EU has left many of us requiring medical treatment in a very perilous state because we don't have the doctors and the surgeons and the care assistants and the money that we used to get from the EU for all the projects that we used to do and have and things. Something that I don't think really occurs to people much of the time. But if you're on a waiting list because, there isn't a surgeon or a consultant available to see you, or like me, you have to go out of area for that treatment that you had to wait over a year for, it's not good and people die. And we need to recognise this. There's just a lot of glibness around Brexit and the criminal enterprise that it was, the illegal advisory referendum that it was. And we must rejoin. It's as simple as that. We must hold our hands up, say it wasn't an error, was it? It was a calculated error forced by criminals and the press who lied all the time about it. It's unconscionable. But we did have a great time. We got to see our friends. Femi was there. Alex Kerr from Political X, our good mate, was there. Phil Morehouse, pal of ours, was there. So it was lovely to meet people. I got to meet Terry Rinker, who's head of the Greens for Europe, which was lovely. And did a little interview with Alex. So if you go over to Political X, he's done a video on the day with all the interviews. It's very good. Oh yeah, I did get to meet Neil Kinnock, which was quite something, to be honest. Hearing him speak was like being transported back to my childhood. His passion is just unbelievable. And for a man of his age, he's in fine fettle, which is not something many men of his generation can say, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, that was a big, long day, and then I had to travel back from Hastings on Tuesday, which was another long day. So it's been quite exhausting, to be honest, and especially in this heat, which I'm happy to report about 2 minutes ago broke before I started recording, and the heavens opened, which is why I might look a bit damp. It was sweat, now it's just rain. Oh, that's my fan. Can't have a noisy one, can we? Because interferes with technology and stuff. I'm learning. Anyway, on to the news. If you could just like, share, subscribe while we're talking about it, that'd be smashing. Thank you very much, as ever. Now, we haven't got Don, so we haven't got Reform Roundup. So I'm going to do a new feature that I'm going to call Reform Rupture. Because as we've been predicting for some time, probably even since we started this pod, Reform are on the way out. And I'm happy to predict this, because anyone who saw Farage's media round on, I think it was Tuesday, I want to say, maybe Wednesday, he's a dead man walking. Sally Nugent from the BBC went at him over the 5 million that he should have declared and did not declare, and the superciliousness from the man was incomparable. He absolutely lost it and started shouting that nobody cares repeatedly. But it wasn't just Sally Nugent. It was everyone who interviewed him that day. He really should have stayed in his hiding field. But I knew when I saw Julia Hartley-Sewer interviewing him and taking the same line as Sally Nugent, the establishment have had their fill of Nigel Farage. He's caused all the rupturing they needed, and now he's served his purpose. There are rumours circulating at the moment he's being pressured to fire Mohammed Zia Yusuf, which I can only conclude is to appease the people they've lost to restore. So Braverman should be shitting herself. Yeah, the Hawks are circling and Reform have hit their peak and they will not be moving past, as Don has been consistently predicting, 23% in the polls. They're going to dip now. I think with Burnham coming in, we're looking at a new era of some sort. I'm not convinced it's going to be much different, but it will be different because he is a different person, potentially with the same values isn't the right word, is it? Motivations as Starmer. But until he takes this seat, there's no telling, really, because he's being quite careful with what he's saying right now. He's not really sticking to anything particularly. But all the signs are pretty bad, to be honest. We'll get onto that later. But again, the timing, as I've been predicting for a while, coincides with your man over the pond. I say man. Your parasitic predator over the pond, who is very literally a dead man walking. I just need to go to my bookmarks and I will read you a tweet out from somebody who... Ooh, no. There's been a leak from somewhere about Trump and his medical treatment, because obviously everyone's following it very closely. There we go. So it's Caroline Orbueno, PhD. She says, holy crap. Stat News is reporting that Eli Lilly and the FDA let one person access a powerful new weight loss drug through the FDA's compassionate use program, which is reserved for people with serious and immediately life-threatening conditions. That one person is believed to be Trump. Now, I'm not mad about that because it's so experimental, he's the only person taking it. Okay, that's fine. This is a piece about the drug from a FDA reporter called Lizzie Lawrence. Washington. Millions of Americans with obesity are eagerly awaiting a powerful new drug from Eli Lilly called Retaritude, which has demonstrated bariatric surgery levels of weight loss. Some aren't even waiting for approval from the FDA, instead racing to acquire it through sketchy means. But Stat has learned that Eli Lilly and the FDA have allowed one person to gain access to the drug through the FDA's compassionate use program, a pathway that gives patients with serious and immediately life-threatening medical issues access to experimental treatments. Now, the guy on Instagram that I've been following and reporting through, whose name is at Epstein-Crisis, who is a geriatric consultant. Sorry, Bruce has come in. He's not happy because of the rain. Are you coming to be wet with us? He's reporting that as well as his frontal lobe disintegrating by the day, he also has bilateral heart failure. So both sides of his heart are knackered. And it would seem that the only way for his heart to get any respite is by dropping the enormous amount of weight that the greedy, psychotic, parasitic bastard has. So, yeah, it's he's fighting the clock. He's really fighting the clock. So I think we all need to get 2 bottles of champagne in before Christmas, frankly. But, you know, as always, it's a watch this space. You just never do know. But the vultures are circling. Rubio and, is it Hegseth? No, Vance, my bad, sorry. Rubio and Vance are eyes on Trump right now, and the vultures are circling. It's quite the thing. It's quite the spectacle. And then speaking of vultures, we're back to Burnham, who, it came out this week, has recruited James Pennell as his chief of staff. Not great. Pennell is the former Secretary of State for DCMS, as was the Culture, Media, Sport. He is also a former advisor to BP, Apple and Amazon. He's essentially a lobbyist. He's a Blairite, from what I can gather. And it's just more jobs for the boys. So I don't know what tiny mechanism Burnham's going to come in and be good about. He'll probably pick one. Don't know what it's going to be. But I do not like the lines he's taking right now. It's just more of the same shit. It just is. And it's very depressing. I don't have a whole lot to say because we're sort of like sitting ducks, aren't we, waiting to see what's going to happen. But it's a mess. Other news actually in the Labour Party, just off the top of my head, I need to read into it. I don't know a huge amount about it. But Mike Tapp is having a set to with Shabana Mahmood in fighting, always lovely. And he knew Shabana Mahmood's calling for Mike Tapp to be sacked. So, yeah, he's awful. He's terrible. But so's she. Rats in a sack again. It's just deeply unprofessional. At best. At best. As we know in other areas, it's a psychological diagnosis that we don't need running government. But here we are. Thompson just distracting me there. Oh, but then I couldn't help but spot Rupert Lowe this week at it again. The man is just a disgrace. She says, going back to her bookmarks. So this is from an account called at David_Hollis. This is mad. Absolutely mad. Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry report contains roughly 3 pages of sympathetic testimony from the mother of Eleanor Williams. The report itself admits why that's a problem, then prints it anyway. Page 41 states it plainly. The daughter was found guilty on 9 counts of perverting the course of justice and jailed. Despite this, the mother believes there is evidence to suggest the daughter was a genuine victim of the gangs. So the mother knows better than our court of law. Williams was sentenced to 8.5 years. 8.5 years? That's not just telling some fibs, is it? In March 2023, the judge called her allegations of an Asian grooming gang complete fiction. Fabricated using self-inflicted injuries, including hammer wounds. And we're back to a mental health crisis that nobody's getting help with. The report knows this. It says so in its own disclaimer. It still goes on to print the mother's account in detail, including unverified claims about named ethnic groups across 3 pages in the victim testimony section. Not one UK outlet has picked this up. A 219-page inquiry that flags its own source as a convicted fabricator. What the then includes her anyway? Sat alongside genuine victims from Rotherham, Rochdale, and Telford. A report built to expose institutional failure has just demonstrated one of its own. These are not serious people. These are not intelligent people. These are paid lobbyists of evil. Paid to disrupt politics, to get us all looking the other way while they squirrel away all the cash. Still, perpetually. Nope. Whilst thieving trauma from everybody else. The other 83% or whatever it is of victims who don't matter because they weren't attacked by a gang of foreign-based people. Riddle me that. It's trauma theft. And it's despicable. But somehow it's fine. It's a bit like when I was watching the e-petition debate in Westminster on Wednesday over Israeli interference in UK politics, whereupon the Crionist lobby, of which it was mostly attended, stood up and literally said that it was an attack on Jewish people, which, to conflate Jewish people and the state of Israel, is as anti-Semitic as you can get. And the Zionists, they're not even Semites. Make it make sense. The only way it makes sense is if you're dealing with people who have a neurological deficiency and absolutely no self-awareness. And they're genociding. As I keep saying, we need mental health care, not just for people who are ill and struggling and trying to function, but to protect us all from predatory psychiatric diagnoses. These people are an absolute danger. That's it. And there was one last thing that was also mad. I think it was from the same account, actually. Oh, no, it wasn't. Sorry. It's a tweet from Dr. Rame Al-Dawam, who we'd spoken about before. She had the temerity to be born Palestinian in the UK and trained as a doctor and worked within our NHS very, very competently, but takes issue with genocide and as such has been reprimanded, taken out of her job. I think she's under a false investigation by the police for speaking out about a genocide. So, yeah, she's a good egg who is being castigated, and I hope one day she'll find justice. But this particular tweet is something we've also talked about quite a lot on the pod, but it's detail that I didn't understand until now. The first government in British history to pay NHS trusts to remove patients from waiting lists was Labour under Keir Starmer and Wes Streeting. They offered a £33 bounty per extra patient. That's an estimated £32.5 million for almost 986,000 extra patients removed in a single year. Patients were removed if they did not respond to texts or letters, even if they never received them. That happened to me several times, and it's happened to lots of people I know. Deadlines as short as 72 hours. Some were removed for being pregnant after clock resets of lists or after not attending appointments that they never received. This is the fastest fall in NHS waiting lists for 17 years, Starmer is boasting about. The man is a disgrace. That kind of behaviour kills people. It leaves them suffering for longer. And also what? So Labour can get the press headlines that NHS waiting lists are falling. Tell me how they're not psychopaths. Tell me how that isn't psychopathy. To do that knowing full well you're going to leave the best part of 1 million people, isn't it? 986,000 to suffer and die early when they didn't need to. We're not being managed by well people. We're not being managed well by well people. Things have got to change. We need to get professional, rational, stable-minded people into government. Something we haven't had probably since before I was born. But we have got to turn the tide. And I think, that might be about it for now because, one last thing. Sorry, my bad. If you too suffer from feeling like shit because you're broke perpetually, remember it's not a moral failure. It's because we're in a cost of greed crisis. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's the government's fault. And I'll prove this now with another tweet from David_Hollis. Reform's Treasurer with a £46,000 HMRC debt, is now running a community company that exists because of his own failures. Dan Cecil became Reform UK's branch treasurer for Kinnock Chase weeks after joining the party. At the time, his company, Chase Games Limited, was in liquidation, leaving HMRC £46,000 out of pocket in VAT alone, with the total unrecovered tax debt approaching £50,000. Trade creditors, employees, and his own director's loan account were all wiped out too. That story published on the 9th of May. On the 17th of June, just over 5 weeks later, Cecil resigned as a director of Community Hobby and Gaming Spaces CIC, the company behind Heath Hayes Community Coffee Shop. His 18-year-old daughter, Caris Cecil, was appointed director and majority controlling shareholder the same day. A second director, Jason Titley, was appointed 3 days later. His role in the business is unclear. The CIC's own website explains its origins without prompting. It says that it was set up after a string of local hobby and gaming shops closed. A string? Didn't know they were that popular. Seen a couple. Anyway. Naming Asgard in Walsall, Geek Retreat in Stafford, and Cecil's own Chase Games among them. It states plainly that Cecil worked at Asgard after Chase Games failed, and that Asgard closed in October 2023, just as we set up CH and GS to try and get back on track, says he. Companies House confirms the CIC was incorporated on the 23rd of September 2023, weeks before Asgard's closure. Cecil announced the new venture publicly himself, posting in a local Facebook group on September 2024 that the shop's lease was being finalised and that it would open by the end of October. The structure now in place means the man with the unpaid HMRC bill no longer holds any formal position within the company. His daughter does. What changed on the 17th of June and why Titley was added days later has not been explained. But our tax system is left with a £46,000 hole. And that is what these people do. They go around creating CICs, they take all the money out they can suck, and then they just leave it and walk away. And it happens more than I care to report. Another failure we've got to cover a hole for. It's incredible to me. And on that bombshell, I am going to leave you with the funniest improv stand-up I think I've ever seen. And it will translate in audio if you're not watching visually. It's a guy who I only happened upon today, a comedian known as MC Hammersmith. And he is excellent, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Until next time, hopefully with Don. Bye-bye.
What's your name? Assy, classic name. What do you do for a living? Assy, retired, fuck yeah, that's awesome. What do you used to do?
I had an online farmer.
You had an online farmer business. Classic. Is this your partner, Assy? Your sister. Hello, sister. What's your name? Addy and Assy, classic names. What do you do, mate? You're an accountant, fuck yes. Where are you guys from? Tel Aviv, Israel. You're Israeli. What's your favorite genocide? What are we talking? We're talking Armenian, Bosnian, Cambodian, Rwandan, or the one your government's committing. What's your favourite one? That one. Now, we are being quite harsh because we don't know, just because they are Israeli, it's xenophobic, we don't know if they support the Israeli government, so we'll give them benefit of the doubt. Actually, no, fuck it, I'm going to ask one. Do you guys support the Israeli government? Yes. He's nodding. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I spit it frankly. People in the place is fucking assy. Don't you understand? I'm sparking this. This guy used to be an online pharmacist, and that's what I mean. I'm oh so cool. When I'm on the beats, microphones I do roll. When I'm on the track, I pull rhymes from the ether. This guy used to be a fucking drug dealer. Yes, man, yes, indeed. Just dishing out that online weed. That's what I mean. I say Wiggly, and your name is his name with a fucking D. Word to Addy, yes, astounding. This legend here is a fucking accountant. At accountancy, you are skilled. You can use it to count the babies Netanyahu's killed. You can count them. I believe about 20,000. They are applauding. That looks bad. Take it off the top with the freestyle raps. 100,000 Gazans killed, or Palestinians right there. So ill, I don't agree with it. Here on this rhyme, fuck Israel and free Palestine. Yo, here we go. Yo, here we go. Let's see sitting in the front row. He's doing it. You can call that a two-state solution. Yeah, here we go. Make some noise. Well, the atmosphere is really awkward.